Hello, everybody. I think we're having a couple of little issues here, but we will get back on as soon as possible. Hope you guys are having a great day today. All right, bad pets. Just hopefully you won't have an issue connecting. All right, bad pets. I think you're on. Okay, beautiful. We got you in. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start with our announcements for the week, and more people can roll on in as they can. First one is a reminder to check to see if you qualify for your Dimension or your Namada airdrops. Go to the websites and just connect your wallet to see if you do. Bad Kids holders do, as well as some Stargaze takers. The featured auction spot for January 19th is live and ends in less than 1 day. So if you are considering launching a project on Stargaze, have a look to be featured. We had some updates to the Infinity contract for performance. You'll see a new UI update as well soon. Also, buying BitKids with Bad Kids will soon be much easier. A fun new update coming out next week. In terms of governance, we have a couple of new posts on Commonwealth. The first one being an update to Stargaze names. The second one being stars incentives for the stake stars lending pool on Demex for $5,000 in stars, and another Commonwealth proposal to lower the token factory creation fee. With that, let's go ahead and hear from our featured project for the week. Welcome, Bad Pets.
Alrighty. I guess I'll just dive into it. Um, Hello, everybody.
Hello, yeah, thanks.
My
Why don't you start off telling us kind of who you are and how you came here?
yeah, that's perfect. My username on the Discord is Raidstar, and it doesn't really have any meaning behind it. I just kind of thought it would be a cool name. Yeah, and I just wanted to thank everybody for having me. This has been an awesome community through the journey of Bad Pets from the beginning. Um, I've joined a lot of communities, talked to a lot of people, and it's because of your support that I'm here today, and that's fantastic. And also to the Stargaze team, who've done an awesome job at keeping going, even during the hard times, the crypto winter. So that's fantastic. Yeah, so I was just going to talk a little bit about how I got into Stargaze and into Bad Pets. Um, I jumped into crypto when I was in about 2021, around the bull season. Then. Actually, it was the tweet from Mark Cuban. I talked about Dogecoin, and I was like, I know what that is. I'm going to go buy some Dogecoin. And then, I joined the community as it did, as it grew, and then I tried spanning out from there. And I got destroyed quite a bit from a lot of different projects. I joined some scams and some, you know, everybody in the crypto community of more than a couple months kind of figures out that there aren't really there's a lot of really rough projects out there, or people who are trying to take your money and everything like that. So, um, as I was looking for my next steps, I was like, man, things are rough. Where do I go? I found, I found osmosis, and it was mostly, I was looking for a new way of trading and everything. I was like, man, I don't want to just be like the day trader thing that's not very successful. So I jumped into osmosis for the APR, actually, and I jumped into the community, and the community was fantastic. And the reason for that is because it was kind of the first community within crypto that wasn't just like the hype machine. I mean, if you guys know what I'm talking about, the people who are just, yay, we're gonna make money, and that's great, but there's also the utility behind it. And then, after a while, you look around and you realize there's a lot of really good projects going on. When Stargaze came out, I just missed the airdrop for Stargaze. And so at first I was like, I'm not going to join it. I missed the airdrop. But then hype started to build about it, of course, especially with Bad Kids. And there was a discussion on the Osmosis Discord, actually. They were talking about it. And they were like, man, it's exploding. And then we talked about it and kind of came up with an idea to make the Bad Pets. And that same year, as everybody knows, AI art just came out. And ever since that's come out, Stable Diffusion specifically, I have been absolutely obsessed with AI art and the implications of it. It has been kind of a life-changing thing. And then I looked at it and I was like, I could do something. I had been listening to different podcasts and everything. I heard a story about Michael Jackson. Okay. And it was 1 a.m. and he called his producer at 1 a.m. and he's like, I've got an idea for a story. Or not a story. I've got an idea for a song and I need to produce it right now. And the producer's like, it's 1 in the morning. And he's like, well, if I don't do it right now, Prince is gonna make the song. And that sounds ridiculous, of course. But the point is when the idea comes to mind or the community comes up with the idea, it's out there. And you have the opportunity to either take it or to let it go. And maybe somebody else will pick it up and maybe not. So I looked around and I was like, I have everything I need to publish here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And so what I did with the original Bad Pets was I trained the model and I ran it and made 1,111 bad pets. And then I released. And that actually was all within a week. I just cranked it out. I worked really, the day and night cycle kind of thing to get that done in time. I guess, sometimes when you get into a workflow state, you're just like, okay, I'm going to get this cranked out. So I released and I thought that was that at first. And there was a lot that I discovered when I released. I had to dive into different communities, figure out how to make my name known. In fact, one of the steps that I took was I jumped into the Bad Kids server and I talked to them. And actually, I talked to I still can't pronounce the name, Cordell, the maker of Bad Pets. he he didn't give his thumbs up, hey, but he said, hey, this is cool, and if you want to do this, then you do that, which is great, because if he had said, I don't like this, I would have probably dropped it right there, because it's kind of, didn't want to step on their toes. And in fact, that's why in the original Bad Pets, I said, this is not affiliated with Bad Kids, because I wanted to make my face known as a distinct individual. So then I released. I mean, it was good to go. In fact, there's a funny story where I originally released and I was dropping, I was doing airdrops. I was going from Discord server to Discord server. And the Bad Kids one, there was a certain Twitter influencer that that said Bad Pets sucked. And I was like, oh man. And it was kind of a moment where I looked at it and said, okay, what points does he have? And I think that's really important to take feedback like that. And honestly, he didn't know who I was or what I did. So, I completely understand his sentiment. And a lot of that is about providing value back. And I think since then, I have shown that Bad Pets has provided value to the community. And that's been just fantastic. In fact, Bad Pets floor right now is around $50 USD, which is pretty phenomenal. And we have 325 owners. And at one point, right when I sold out, and I know it was only for 5 minutes, but we did take the top spot on the Stargaze marketplace until I got retaken. But that's not the point. I did it for 5 seconds. And that was great. It was wonderful to see the community do all those things. And so moving forward, I didn't want to create a crypto an NFT that I would just shovel things out to the community. And I know with AI art, especially because the ease it is to make AI art in the first place, I don't want to be okay, here's 10,000 more, give me money, I wanted to create something about you again. And so when I hopped into it, I started looking at different styles and things that I want to do and a roadmap for the future, what kind of plans I have for the future. One of the things that I really love is in the early 2000s, there used to be a lot of text-based RPG games. And so I wanted to implement elements of that into the next Bad Pets. And a few other things that I wanted to take was, I was really impressed with After the Filters and After the Filter style, and so I kind of want to use a little bit of elements of that, which, as you can see from like the pen drawing style of art, it does heavily take from that. um, and so I had all these different ideas of what I wanted, but it didn't quite all come together for several months. And I don't know. I mean, my creative process is kind of in between the time of the two releases, I learned quite a bit, and I wanted to take what I learned and provide community value with what I've learned. So I took all those things and kind of plugged them together. And during that time, I also been plugging away at learning more about AI art in general and AI. And so, what you see with Bad Pets Equal Odyssey is kind of a fruition of all of those efforts. Um,
How
there are a lot
how
of,
has
oh, go
the
ahead.
how has AI changed since your first project to this project, and like what did you specifically learn from the first project that you're taking into this project now?
Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, so that's two questions. Okay, so the first one, how AI has changed. AI has been running in leaps and bounds. AI is exponential technology, which means what we see today, it's tomorrow is going to be not just incrementally better, it's going to be twice as good. And in the last year, tons of new tech has come out. The most important thing involving NFTs has been to allow a lot more control over things. Like you can see from my release set that I've got, I think, excuse me, 8 backgrounds. And you see, if you look, they're all tightly controlled. They're not really wild and random. AI has changed so much that I'm able to do that now. So it's been fantastic. The other thing is I can, if you look at the images from the first set to the second set, I was able to copy them almost exactly over from the one set to the other without an imprint image. When I say imprint, I mean like, okay, we have the profile of the NFT and we'll make it the exact same, which was my original idea. I originally wanted to do something kind of like BitKids, where it's very similar to the other one, but it didn't quite come together enough. Okay, so what I learned from the first release, I think there was a lot of growing on my end, like how I think about NFTs. Um, the first thing was is people really like the metadata and the interestingness of it, and they like to, and so a big change that I did with this new set was I added a lot more metadata and I added a lot more storyline elements to it. Um, One other thing that I learned was, about community. And providing value and everything like that. When you're looking at NFTs from the outside, like, well, from the way outside, you look at NFTs and you're like, oh, that's funny pictures that you download off the blockchain. A lot of people in theory know what it is, but they don't really connect with that. And I think I knew a lot about it, but when I jumped into it and really started, spending time with the community, I've learned even more. And so when I did Bad Pets, Inkle Odyssey, I made sure to make use of everything that I learned about community. Because with the original Bad Pets, I just released it and then I talked about it. And this one, it's kind of my, I guess, sophomore NFT set. I was able to, announce it and build hype about it and everything like that. So, I mean, there's a lot that I learned. The
There
most
was a lot
important
more
thing.
planning
Okay.
involved in this, it seems, right?
Oh yeah, this one took several months, and then what happened was like I got into a bidding war over the spot, and I lost. They just I had set an amount, and I was like, I'm not gonna go past this. And then he messaged me the next day, and he's like, Hey, I can't release now. And so he sold it to me, which was great. But then I was like, Oh, that means I have to release now. So, but I was able to pull everything together, and it was definitely a lot more work for this. And the animations that I added to each bad pet. That was one of the things that, oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
could you tell us how you made the animations?
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I didn't want to make a release until I found something new, novel, of value that I could share with the community. You know, AI art and using other people's styles, that was kind of okay, it's already been done. And then now AI has made more leaps and bounds into making animated GIFs and everything like that. GIF or GIF? I don't want to start a war there. But yeah, so anyway, a lot of the tech was finally arrived, but it's still pretty choppy. It's pretty difficult to refine. But I spent a couple of weeks working on it and making it look good. And then with the animation, I thought, man, that would be cool. I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of sets out there that are already animated, already, doing their thing. But I wanted to be, I was like, okay, let's release over 1,000 animations. So to make that, my video card was burning for like 2 or 3 weeks straight. It was fantastic, and I'm sure my power bill is not going to be good this month, but that's okay. But the other thing was with that, there was no real implementation to do the batch amount that I wanted to do. And so I had to build a few processes on my own to make it work. So that was a
Yeah,
was a
could you talk about your processes a bit?
yeah. So with the with AI animation or with Stable Diffusion, they have um, they have two main um, apps. They have tons of apps, but the two main community apps they use are both called. One of them is called Automatic, and the other one is called Comfy UI. So I dug around, and Automatic does not have any implementation to do it. Comfy UI, it has a new system where you could like throw in nodes. And so what it does is it follows in one process and it takes the image that outputs and puts into another image. And then it makes a cohesive AI. So a few pieces of tech came out recently. One of them is called IP adapters. What that does is it helps to make the image similar, but not exactly the same. And so that's what I use to match the background with the foreground or with the bad pet's image, and also to make the bad pet look exactly the same. And man, I was really impressed with the output because I was trying with these other processes and it just wasn't pulling together the way I wanted it to. And the other thing that came out was their animation. And so both those things are extremely exciting to me. I think, like I said, I'm just very excited about AI, very excited about crypto. It's a marriage between the two that really makes things come together, and I really love being here. So,
We love having you here too. Um, I want to open up the floor for any questions from the community as well, if they have for you. So we have Bad Pets on here. If you guys have any questions or comments, please request to speak and we'll get you answered. You can also post a question in the thread on Twitter here, and we'll also get you answered there. Um, yeah, so I guess Bad Pets, tell us what was the most challenging thing about launching this project?
well, I I mentioned that I suddenly got the launchpad spot or the marketplace spot, and I was like, okay, this all has to come together. Um, and so I was working it. And as a side note, I'm also a single dad, and uh, I work full time. So I had to juggle a lot of responsibilities to get this out on time. Um, Fortunately, I am a programmer that works from home, so I can kind of multitask and make sure the GPU keeps running and everything like that. Um, but getting everything into place at the right time on time, that was definitely a challenge. I built a little program to help me speed up the metadata process so that we could speed that along because going through by hand one by one is not appealing at all to me. I had a lot of pre-knowledge. I knew a lot of the things that I wanted to do, but because it was AI generated, I wanted to add a few special things, like a few special things in that I could add into the attributes, and so I had to do that by hand. So that was pretty challenging, and of course, the other challenge is to find the style that really I enjoy. and in animations that make the cut. And so that took some time, but I'm really impressed with the way it turned out. So
I
go
have a
ahead.
question on the metadata. So did you created like some kind of script for it? Because all the images, I guess, were generated, right? And then there's no metadata to go along with it. Or did you create all the metadata by hand?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So the original Bad Pets I did, and you can tell because there's only two two attributes on the original Bad Pets, and then I imported in those original attributes, including like I misspelled a few words on the first go around, and I left the misspellings in on purpose. I also wrote a program. I am a programmer as my day trade, or not day trade, by day, and so I just and I've been building a website. So I'm like, okay, how about we just integrate this? And so I had it automatically load up the attributes that I already knew, like I added in some RPG-esque elements like fluffitude or um, like strength would be bonk power or something like, so those kind of things. I had them generated based on um, the animal type. So like a cat's not going to be as strong as a dog, but a cat's going to be fluffier than a dog. So those things were pretty easy to generate. I just dropped them into a CSV and then had it generate automatically that way. The two attributes that I had to do by hand were the background, because it was generated. The way I did it was I wanted to have a pretty even distribution of background. So I had it randomly select the background. So I had to go in and by hand fix it or make sure everything was good. And the other one was the accessory attribute. Um, so I went through every single image and I typed it all in. Well, with the background, I had a set, I think, 8 backgrounds. So that was easy. I just clicked the drop down menu and I selected. But the accessories, I typed in as I went along. So yeah, that was took about 6-8 hours to get through. And then I did notice a few errors after pushing to testnet, and I'm like, oh no! So I came back and fixed them. But and Stargaze has a cool tool that audits the NFTs as well. So that's there too as a resource. So that's great.
Yeah, our checker tool. You mentioned your background was as a developer. Do you have any background in art?
I don't actually, and that is I think that's why I'm so deeply interested in AI technology is because I grew up really interested in comic books and things like that. I was a big weebo in high school, like the pretty nerdy kid, and I just didn't have any talent for art. So when AI came out, I was so excited, and I was like, oh, I've got to go do this. I do have a little bit of history in working in 3D animation stuff, but not any professional knowledge. I for a little while I thought I was going to be a 3D animator working with Blender. It was like a couple years of tutorials and building stuff, and so that is really the only background I have.
Hey, well, you've got a good eye. That's what really counts in the AI world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I came out with the original Bad Pets, I wanted it to be very similar to Bad Kids, including if you look at the Bad Kids, the paper that it's built on is like kind of this crinkled paper, and I'm like, it's gotta have that. So when I trained it, I made sure that everything looked really, really similar moving in. So
We've got a couple of questions here on Twitter, so I'm gonna shoot them off to you. The first one is from Stardy. A lot of creators ask about metadata generation when pieces are one of ones. Do you have plans to deploy the script as a website for other creators? Yeah, I think people may find that handy.
yeah, I mean, if people find that handy, I definitely. So I have some future plans for Bad Pets, and I've kind of been keeping it a little quiet because as I'm producing, I don't 100% know the viability, but I'm planning on releasing a website and using the allowing users to load in their Bad Pets and everything like that. So I'm already planning on a website. So I'm going to release that as a free tool for everybody to use. And also, once I get the code cleaned up, I'll definitely go through and release the source code for that. So it'll be available for everybody who wants to use. One of my personal goals at Bad Pets is to create accessibility for NFTs for everybody. And that's a big talking point for me for Stargaze because Stargaze is, feeless. So a lot of people are attracted to that. And I definitely want to make it possible for everybody who's interested to make it happen. And, right now it is definitely getting easier. And we want to bring the bar even lower to help more people who want to create to create. So.
Okay, perfect. We've got another question here. This one's from Steaksito. Any collab between Bad Pets and Bad Kids Art one day?
Oh man, that would be awesome. But I have chatted with him, but I have not spoke with him about a collaboration between the two of us. That would be fantastic. So yeah,
So,
yeah. I guess that's
yep. Keep waiting, Steaksito. Yeah.
yeah. That's
Now,
right. That's right.
there's another comment here that you gave some of the original holders of Bad Pets a custom one from this collection.
Yep, that's right. So maybe I didn't like announce it widely enough, or maybe I just, I mentioned it on Discord if you scroll back. But basically, I handed out custom bed pets to anybody who asked me for it free of charge. They sent me a pet picture of their pet, and I used the tool to build them into the bed pets world. That was actually super fun, and a lot of times pets are very, very important to us, very close to our hearts. And I think that's one of the appeals of Bad Pets. And so bringing, people's pets in was awesome because now, in their own way, they've achieved immortality on the blockchain. And some of the pets that I did for have already passed away. And so being able to give them that little piece that they can carry with them in the future, that's very rewarding to me. I didn't even, I didn't charge for that because it was something that I just find value in doing just for doing it.
Do you have any pets yourself?
I do. In fact, I minted one of my cats. His name's Ragnarok. Ragnarok, Destroyer of Worlds. He's actually just a fat orange tabby, really lazy cat. He's fantastic, and he's actually one of the reasons I made a lot of fat orange cats on my collection. I also have a hamster. My son begged me for a hamster, and I said, okay, in 6 months, and it's your birthday. If you still want a hamster, you can have it. And he still wanted it, so we went and got it. His name's Sunshine, and I know hamsters live only like a couple of years, so he's a year old, so he's midlife crisis right now. So those are my pets. Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm guessing that's your PFP is the cat that you have.
yeah. Well, actually, let me pull it up if it's nearby. Connected. It's right on top. That one that's on my profile picture is the original one that I used to kind of market me. But then I have, let's see, token 1247 is my cat, Ragnarok. And I was actually thinking about swapping over. So now that's a good point. I'm probably going to do that.
Do you have any advice for anyone who hasn't launched a collection yet?
Yeah, I do actually. First of all, I think you should just dive in and do it. And I say that as somebody who did just that. There's a lot of things with launching a collection that are going to be unknown, and you're going to have to roll with it. Like for me, like I mentioned earlier, community is really, really important with NFTs, and I hadn't like going in. I didn't really know the value as much as I do now. And so there's a lot of things you're going to learn as you go along. But if you don't do it, if you don't just dive in, then you're never going to get started. With Stargaze, it's nice and easy to get launched, and the community is pretty awesome. Yeah, even if you just want to message me, I can help you get set up. So there's a lot of resources out there to get published. I think the most important thing that you need to be is be bullish on yourself, right? Just give yourself that chance. And I would say um, Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, he has a famous quote. He talks about missionaries and mercenaries. Basically, missionaries are these people who want to build on something, and then mercenaries are the people that want to profit off of it. And of course, in this world, crypto world, there's a lot of mercenaries. If you come in as a missionary and you want to build on the space, then you'll find a place, just like I did. And it's really confusing, and maybe it's going to be hard to get started, but there's a lot of good people out there that can help you along.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Is there anything you want to tell us about your future plans? I know you mentioned the website, but is there anything else that you want to, tease us or give us a little bit of hint that we can expect from you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, like I said, all this technology is really interesting to me, and a lot of it I'm still a student of. I dabble in a lot of different things. One of them is Unreal Engine. So the possibility of me, if in the future the tech provides, I want to make all of them into 3D models and make a little platformer game. That would be so much fun. Um, my original idea right now is to build a website where you can load in your bad pet, and I gave everybody attributes, and so my plan for that is to have all the bad pets fight each other, and then fight these. I call them in the NFT ink fiends, which are like the bad guys. You go fight the bad guys and do quests, and as you go along, you'll get NFTs with in-game money. So you just kind of like earn them through using in-game money to do that. So that's kind of my idea that is very viable right now with the technology we have. So um, that is something that's really fun to me too. So building that out would be a ton of fun. And I have a kind of prototype website built, where I play with Kepler, and you log in, and then it displays the bad pets and everything like that. So it's really the dynamics that I need to work through. Um, but yeah, in the future, I do hope to release that to the world. Oh, and I do like the storyline aspect of my NFT collection this time, and I had a lot of fun building that. And so, one thing I do want to do too, maybe if the tech provides again, is to make like a little movie or something out of it. I think that would be really cool. And then piece it up and then send it to the blockchain. That would be awesome. So I
I
mean,
don't
those
know if
are.
you mentioned the storyline of your collection.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't. Okay, so I'll just give a quick rundown, and that's the Bad Pets Inkwell Odyssey world. The Bad Pets were there, and a portal opened up and sucked them into a seemingly utopia world. They landed on a beach called Doodle Beach, in a world called Cosmos Canvas. So kind of a fun thing. But the thing is, they realize very quickly that the color is starting to drain out of the world. So they go on an adventure to um, to find out what happened. And so in that adventure, they uncover different clues, and they eventually discover something called the inkwell that has been taken by the main antagonist of the story, who is called the nullifier. The nullifier is an NFT. I can't remember what number it is, but I didn't airdrop that to anybody, so you get that on a random draw. But he is like the main antagonist that's pulling the color from the world for himself. And so they go from Doodle Beach, to the forest, Sketchley Forest, to the main town, Eraserville. And you'll notice in Eraserville, I did draw a lot of inspiration from the After the Filter, where it's like this kind of beat up town. So that was really fun. And in each area, also, there's going to be different antagonists. So, inky crabs. I have these catacombs that have panthers in them. Caverns with bats. No, excuse me. There's one called Scribble Highlands, which has wild boars. And then when you arrive in the Null Realm, which is the kind of the end goal there, you just have ink fiends. they're more fantastical, race and monsters and different kind of enemies that they fight along the way until they finally arrive at the Knoll Castle, um, and they defeat the Nullifier and put the Inkwell back together to save the Cosmos Canvas, is what I call it, which is just the
So,
world.
are you going to make this into a comic, or is this explained through the NFTs? Or all the NFTs, I guess, characters?
Yeah, so all the NFTs are characters, and I think I may move forward and make them into comics as well. But for this set, I released 10 chapters, and if you look, token 1233 is the beginning. So if you just go through those 10 chapters, you can see the storyline there. So if you start at 1233, 1233. So each one of them is just one NFT with 10 chapters describing the series of events. And I think it'd be really cool to make a comic as well. So, I mean, if there's a lot of interest, I will definitely do that. So,
All right, very cool. All right, guys. If we have any more questions or comments for Bad Pets, please request to speak. That's cool. I'm glad we got to that at the very end there. Bad Pets, do you have anything else to add that I may not have covered here so far?
not too much. Like I said, I just wanted to thank everybody because it's really the community that drives this. And I've been very welcomed in every single circle that I've been to, which is fantastic. When you draw the NFT, just look for some special things that aren't included in the rarity. I made each name and each description pretty unique. So when you're taking a look, just take a look and enjoy it. And that's kind of what bad pets are for. Just have fun and enjoy things. So
Yeah, I like that. Have fun and enjoy things. Oh yeah. Also,
yeah,
Happy New
yeah,
Year, everybody. I don't think I mentioned that. Oh yeah, you are our first. You're our first project of the year. Congratulations. We're bringing in
yeah.
2024
Thanks.
with you. Yeah, I had a couple of pets. All right, guys. Well, if we don't have any more questions from the community, I think we can call this a space. This has been a great chat, Raystar. Thanks for joining and creating a fun project here. Looking forward to Freshman Friday tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, guys. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. I'm on Discord. So
Yeah, thanks again, guys. Have a great rest of the day and have a great Freshman Friday tomorrow. We will see you next week. Bye.
thanks, guys.